All right. I'm showing live on my side on that. And we are live. So, welcome everybody to this week's Syndi-Comics Weekly with BJ and myself. We might have a guest star later if he decides to show up. Hint, hint, Cincy, get on the stream. Um, but yeah, we took a couple weeks off. We've been busy. I mean, it's summertime, so we've all been doing things with our families and stuff. So, um, wanted to get back together, talk a little bit about books today. And there was a big announcement today, and it's not a comic book, but it's about the Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory is ending after season 12. So after this next season, it'll be over. So wanted to talk about that a little bit because, so if you think about it, our community has grown so much because of that show. Before that show, it was not cool to be a nerd or a geek or whatever you want to call us, introverts or extroverts sometimes. So it was kind of a good segue to bring it into the mainstream. Now that's also caused issues for all of us out here in the mainstream as well because now there's so much entertainment stuff. We don't have any comic books at comic conventions. So it's kind of a dual-edged sword. But what it has done though is open up people's eyes to it. So we've actually got to a point to where people accept it and they're not. I remember being 8 years old and getting a fight over comic books. Because I was a nerd. And it was because I was the uncool kid. I was the dude that sat in the corner reading my comic books and playing with my Transformers. And they're like, "He's a nerd. Leave him alone. Just go back, go away." I was perfectly fine with that. I had no problem with that. And it wasn't really until the early 2000s that it started becoming accepted. Henceforth, because of the show. The show has definitely helped out with that. Rabbit Hammer, Danny, thank you guys for coming in tonight. Appreciate y'all showing up. Um,
What's up?
so tonight is going to be a little different. We just got me and BJ. So if you're here to see Kyle, he's not here. So get used to seeing these two faces for a while. Uh, um, so the cool thing is that this is always a rotating door. We've always got extra guests that come on board. BJ and I were talking a little bit about, Josh Howard, one of the big guys in our Syndi-Comics, wants to be on here. I've got my buddy Rick Froge, who wants to come in. Um, and then, of course, Chad, I'd love to have Chad come in to start talking about Sleepwalker, and everything he's about to do. Because I saw the post he put out there earlier today or yesterday about, hey, he showed the cover of number 3, which showed, Sleepwalker. And then I'm like, all right, that's like perfect, freaking, that's like 90s nostalgia times 100%. You had freaking Darkhawk and Sleepwalker on the same cover.
Yeah. He'll be busy this weekend. He's got to do the convention as well. He also has a sit down interview with Larry Hama.
Nice.
Yeah,
He about
he's
to get
pretty
real
excited.
busy.
Yeah, I'll be there for that one. So I'll be sitting there for about an hour for that one.
You should so tape it. Like get your damn phone out, record it, and then put it up on YouTube or something like that.
I just bought my memory card for
There
my
we go.
phone.
Uh, yeah, because I'm kind of excited for that. Because did you finally read Infinity Wars, the first couple issues yet?
No, they're sold out. So I gotta try to probably find it at the convention this weekend.
Which one did you missing?
I haven't got any of them yet.
Okay, well if you can't find them, let me know. They still have copies of them on my LCS for 1 and 2. I'll
Yeah,
pick those up for you.
and I gotta get the the Prime, the one prior to Infinity Wars. Yeah, that
Yeah,
one too.
yeah, it was Infinity Wars Prime. Then they're on Infinity War and 1 and 2. I think they're going to go to issue number 3, and then from there they're going to start getting into the Infinity Warps books, which are going to be kind of cool because if you probably remember back in, I think it was maybe the mid '90s or early or late '90s, they had that thing called Generation 2 or Marvel Universe 2, where we had Weapon Hex back then. We also had, what was it, Genetics. We had J2, which was Juggernaut squared, and then a
Oh,
couple other ones. It's similar in that vein. It's almost like amalgam, like the amalgam universe. Like they used to do with DC, except these are just Marvel characters. All
heck yeah.
right. So, Sith AF Jet Patrol, welcome in, guys. Come on, stay with us, hang out with us. We'll be here for a while. It's been a while, so we got a lot to catch up on. But the cool thing is that there's been a lot of talk, and you might have heard about it too, about Blood Wars. That there is talk that it's going to start coming out in October. What have you heard from Chad and crew?
Nothing. That one's keeping that's hush hush right now. So just that Rob really wants that to be a limited series, basically. Kind of like a return for him into the comic book storyline because I can't remember last time he did one. I'd have to say like Teen Titans in '06 was the last one I can remember of him doing a full comic book page or storyline. So and that was 2 issues. This is one is going to be three, I believe. So
Yeah, it's 3 issues, and then they're gonna pick back up with Youngblood after that. So
yeah,
I'm excited because I like Liefeld. I just don't like Liefeld's feet because you can't draw feet to save his life. But at the same time, he does do good stories too. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have Deadpool. We wouldn't have Cable. We wouldn't have a lot of these guys. With the way they are today.
yeah,
So I'm glad to see him come back. I met him, a while back when he was at Frankenstein's. Got him to sign my Deadpool figure. Really good dude. He's really down to earth. He really loves his fans. He's like a lot of the old guys. They'll take the 20 minutes, 30 minutes to talk to you if they can, and they'll just chew your ear off for a while to tell you kind of like where they went and where they came from.
oh yeah, definitely. I saw him um 3 years ago up in Raleigh at Wizard World. This is right before Deadpool came out. Whenever that trailer mysteriously dropped, they had that and they said they okayed it. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I actually love seeing all these old '90s artists come back. All these '90s stories coming back. It just not just in Marvel but in DC, but in Image too. Like Bloodstrike. I've been reading that. That's been phenomenal. It kind of blows your mind though, because it's like you start out with issue 0, then you go to 23, then 24, and you're like, well, where the hell happened to 1 through 22? Well, that was the previous volume, of
Yeah,
Bloodstrike. So if you didn't read that volume before, you need to go back and read that one first before reading the new Brutalist, because the Brutalist is really just an expansion of that series. But
yeah,
what's cool is that they're going through the history of Bloodstrike as they're going through this new series. So you see the beginning, you see the dude that goes crazy. They keep mutating him, every freaking issue. So it's like he comes out with a new power, doesn't know who he is, and then he goes ape shit and just starts killing a bunch of people. And then they're like, "What do we do with this guy?" They're like, "Well, we put too much money into him, so we can't kill him, So just send him out and let him go kill somebody else."
that's awesome. I know I've got a few from back in the day. I'm going through these comic books that I got from my coworker now and reading those now. I'm almost done with those, and then I'll probably hit up the old Image ones that I never got a chance to read that I got for a present a while back. A comic book store was closing. Well, they're moving, but and then they had a deal. You just get a big box and $10 to fill whatever you want up. And my buddy went and grabbed. I told him to give me all X-Men, whatever you can find on Image, and he gave me some, the backstory ones. Nothing really big important issues.
See, those are the best ones. There's long boxes full of books. You can just go through it, and you find stuff in it.
Hmm.
That I've found that at estate sales. Like that's how I found X-Men '94 and Hulk 180 and 182. Fucking I was 20 minutes late, and I would have had the 181 for $25. Uh,
Uh,
but I was like, son of a. But that's just how it goes. But the cool thing
yeah,
is on all those old ones. Valiant's a good example of that. Like we all remember the thousands of copies of Valiant books that were out there in the '90s. You couldn't go nowhere with not seeing a Bloodshot, a Magnus, or a freaking Ninjak. Everywhere you saw those books everywhere, and they were
Yeah.
25 cents, 50 cents, at the time, because they had made so many of them. I mean, I saw long boxes just full of those books, and I'm like, no, I'll buy one or two copies, but I'm not going to buy a long box of Valiant for that reason.
Oh yeah.
Um, so Sith said he had an amazing find. He found an ASM
Yeah.
252. All right, we on hold. Pause.
I'll be back.
All right. See, um, what have you guys been looking at out there in YouTube land? What's been good stories that you guys have read lately?
All right.
There he is. Um, so Seth said he found an ASM 252, CGC 92, and a Marvel Team Up 141 for 185. That is a great ass find, dude. And you need to take pictures of it and you put it on the Syndi-Comics page, so we can all see those. Um, But what I was asking to the people out there is like, what have they been reading? That they've liked. I mean, we always say what we like, but hey, everybody out there, what have you guys been enjoying reading out there?
Yes, please tell us.
Yeah, because I mean, we're all about growing here. I mean, that's kind of how this works. Is we help each other out, we learn from one another, we make our community better. Um, all right, let's see. Yeah.
Wait a few minutes on that.
Okay.
So, tell me about Amazing Spider-Man 252 and Marvel Team Up 141. The significance of those, because I'm not too familiar, top of my head right now.
Let's see, 252. I want to say, so that's, I'm trying to remember. So that's prior to McFarlane's run. That would have been, um,
Is that the black suit still?
um, yeah, it's still black. That's what they are. The first appearance of the black suits. The ASM 252 is the first ASM the first ASM book with the black suit. Marvel Team Up is the other one. That's right.
Okay.
Because it was a triumvirate. You've got 252, you've got Marvel Team Up, then you also had Web of Spider-Man. They all came out at the same time, but technically Marvel Team Up is the first appearance of it. You had Secret Wars, of course, 8 as well. That's actually just the first appearance of the symbiote. That is not the actual first appearance of the costume. That's the first appearance of the costume on a cover. So it's kind of a weird situation. Is like the actual other books technically came out before Secret Wars 8 did. So Secret Wars
Okay.
8 was in like I think June or July, while the other ones were in May. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um, those are always. I mean, if you got them for 185 for 9.2s for both of them, that's a steal. That's a freaking steal. I would have jumped on that in a heartbeat. Because the cool part about those books and the significance is Venom right now. Because of the Venom movie coming out, everything is skyrocketing. Ironically, it's not just 252 and these ones, and of course ASM 300 is going to jump the first appearance of Venom, but also 298, 299 are jumping up as well, which are the first cameos of Eddie Brock and as well as the first cameo of him. Now,
Yeah.
there is actually a checklist of appearances of the symbiote. Those aren't the only appearances of the symbiote, too. Venom. Venom has been around for a little bit longer than that, too. He was like in 6 or 7 other issues before he even showed up in 300 in his full appearance. So he
Mm-hmm.
has some other books out there as well. But the sad part is, so Venom number 3. Let's talk about Venom number 3. It is
Okay.
not the first appearance of Null. It is not. It
No.
is. It is It's Thor, God of Thunder, number 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Everybody had got that wrong, for the last 3 weeks. thinking that Venom number three was the first appearance. It is the first full appearance of Null in all of his glory, but he has an actual role in that Thor book as well. Because that Thor book, it shows him, he comes out of the planet and showing who he is, and he's a Venom, almost like a Venomized person, when he shows up. So if you can go track it down, go get it. But that book just skyrocketed on CPG for about $60 now for a 9.2. So for that God of Thunder. Venom still hanging out around 15-20 bucks though. So don't
Yeah.
overpay for Venom number three. If you're seeing it out there, pay $4.99, $5.99, maybe $10 if you're a huge Venom fan. Like I'm a huge Venom fan, so of course I'm gonna buy anything Venom.
Yeah.
But the catch 22 is don't overpay for books. That actually brings up my next topic of the day: the cost of comic books. Um, so we all have been in this thing for a while. We've all been buying books since the 90s. We've all seen the prices skyrocket, especially in the last 10 years. They've jumped up significantly. Um, so yeah, we went from, remember where it was 99 cents to $1.25 for a book to $3.99, $4.99 for number one. And if it's a like double size, you're talking $5.99, $6.99. We're not going to get into the Action Comics 1000, which that was a debacle from hell.
Yeah.
It's like $9.99 a book, for that, and they're only worth $9.99 a book right now, unless you have one of the 1 in 50s or 1 in 100s. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why I always want to bring it up because it's like you really got to look at like what you want to read and value it, as something that you want to read. Don't buy books based upon hype. That's what I'm always going to say. There's a lot of books out there on hype that jump up. Die 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 was a good example of that. Literally, when that debacle happened to all the LCSs and they just showed up, that book goes for $40, $50 now, and it's only been out not even a month yet. But because of the scarcity of that book and the hype of that book is why people are jumping all over it. I tend not to do that. If you guys notice, I usually get the books I really like, and I read a lot of comics. Don't get me wrong, but I get a lot of variant because I like the artists. The covers they do that, especially Matina, Delato, Delgado. Of course, if Neil Adams does anything, I'm gonna always pick it up. You know, Arthur Adams. And what's him call it? Adam Hughes. I've been
Yeah.
on Adam Hughes kick lately. So those are just some of the ones that I personally love to read because it's just what I like to read. So just Nate's advice to everybody out there: buy what you want to read. Don't buy it for hype.
Yeah. If you do want to buy for first appearances and whatnot, try to go for deals. I did 4 years ago. I went to a convention in Atlanta, and I talked to guys like, if I buy like 5 or 6 of these, how much could you get taken off? And he's like, I could do about 15%. It's like that's fine. It was like issue 13 of Walking Dead, the New Teen Titans number one, X Factor number 6 or 5, whichever Apocalypse was. And that's
Six.
when they just announced the Apocalypse was going to be the next movie, and can't remember their other one, but you know, I'd spent maybe $90, and the only one that actually went up in value was New Teen Titans number one. It's at 40 now. I bought it for 20. Oh, it was I bought two Uncanny X-Men's first appearance of Jubilee and first appearance of um, Mr. Sinister, I think.
Yeah, Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, I got that one. Yeah, that was the other comic book. No, they were like $15. I was like sold.
Yeah, those are easy ones. Like I'm a huge X-Men fan. Anytime there's X-Men or like specific Silver or Bronze Age books, I'll buy them because I love
Mm-hmm.
that storylines. I love the writing. I love what they do. Um, and I'll pay whatever I have to pay to get it, typically. Um, but that's the catch 22 is like, I'm the same way. I look for all those deals. I go to a comic convention, I look at three things: comics, artist alley, and figures, and that's pretty much what I'm there for. I'm not there for panels. I'm not there for nothing else. I'm there to get stuff. That's why I go to a convention, and I'll spend the hours and hours going through long boxes to find those good books. I mean, I found a what was it, First Nebula and the first Guardians of the Galaxy for $4 each, in a long box, and I asked the dude, I'm like, you sure about this? You sure you want to sell these books for that? Yep, I don't care. I've got hundreds of copies of all this stuff, and rightfully so. A lot of these guys. I mean, we're talking '70s, '80s books. We're talking like they had tons and tons of stuff that's just not worth much.
Yeah.
Uh, and ironically, I ended up taking those books and just giving them to my LCS here and trade in credit. I mean, and let me just give everybody kind of a history lesson. This whole month of August, I'm not paid for one comic book because I've used all my trade credit that I've had in with my LCS, and I've got figures with it as well. So, highly recommend if you've got a bunch of comics, price them out, of course, see how much they're worth. Get a running estimate and take half off of what the value it is, and then talk to them. I mean, talk to your LCS and see if they'll give you a good deal on all the books. It can't hurt. Now, the one thing I did notice though that's not a good seller to a comic shop is trade paperbacks, omnibuses, and hardcovers. They have a hard time pushing those through a lot of times, unless it's like a huge character. Like I brought some old Green Lantern and Flash omnibus ones. They couldn't do anything with them. They're too old, and there's another version coming out in 2 months. So it's like, why am I going to buy an old version when the new version is going to come out? I'm going to resell it for cheaper anyways, than what the
Yeah.
originals buy. So you just got to take your time and look at that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the comic books in the '90s, you really, it's hard to trade those in. I've talked to two of the three LCSs here, and they're like, yeah, we're probably not going to do '90s unless it's like an important one. Of course, the two main ones you can think of in '90s is like our first appearance of Deadpool and Cable. Funny thing, February there was a convention up in Greenville. Chad found the first appearance of Lobo in a dollar bin box. Was that a Mega
Yep.
Man #3?
Yeah, Mega Man number 3. Yep.
Yeah.
And
So hey,
it's actually on the cover of the book, and they're
mm-hmm.
like, "What the hell do we do with this guy?"
He's like,
Well, it's like
gotta
me.
put
I
down.
found like I love Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko and all those guys, from the '60s and '70s. And I remember walking into an LCS and they had like the whole New Gods and the Return of the New Gods, Mr. Miracle, and we're talking the '70s, not the '90s redos. We're talking about the '70s originals by Kirby, and they went at $3 each. So I loaded the hell up on all those. We're talking like, all right, first appearance of Orion, first appearance of Dark Side, big key books, and just, but back then when we're talking ages now. So let's talk a little bit of ages. I bought these in the '90s. That was only 20 years ago from then. Okay, now we're almost 40 years away from when those books came out. So it's kind of the catch 22. Like I got a book yesterday. It's a Golden Age book I bought, and I'll show it once it comes in. Nothing huge, but it was made in 1945 or 46, something like that. Um, and it's just a cool thing to have. I mean, it's not worth anything hardly, but it's just to have a piece of history of Golden Age, because I don't have a
Mhm.
lot of Golden Age books, and it's really for my kids. It really is what it comes down to. I'm gonna mylar it and probably put it away, and it's gonna sit, away from everything because if not, it'll fall apart in 2 days. But it's kind of catches it. You got to find those good deals when you can.
Yeah. Out of that box, those two boxes I got from my coworker, one of them was the Marvel Super Action starring the Avengers,
Yep.
number 15, 40 cents, 1979. I
Yep.
started to read it, and then I got to a certain page, and I was like, "Oh man, that one right there." I'm not sure if you can see that.
Oh yeah.
Somebody cut something out of there. I guess they were ordering something or drawing
Uh,
something.
Let me see the other. They might have cut out the actual image. Like
Okay.
remember they used to have the big bubbles, in the on
Yeah,
the pages back then. Um,
it was like a subscription, I think.
yeah, it looks like.
Oh,
Yep.
I
that
was
book
like,
it just became a 2.0. Exactly. They're
well,
good reader copies. I've got a bunch like that, like where I had a Marvel value stamps cut out of them, and people used to do that from the 70s. The books ain't
mhm.
really worth nothing,. But they're good read stories.
I used to do like check marks on subscriptions in those comics back when I was a kid. I lived in Germany, so we didn't have a comic book store. But then I really never was ever able to get a subscription. But it's always wishing when you're 5, 6 years old.
Well, and I'll tell you the cool thing is that doesn't do anything to the value of the book by just marking it like that. A lot
Yeah,
of people don't realize that a pen doesn't do nothing. Now, if you indent the crap out of it, like where you've put pressure and it's like bent in, that's different. Like dented in the actual pages, like you can see in the next page that there's more dents in there. If you're just checking off stuff like that, or even like writing on the cover, that doesn't affect grades at all. So
hmm.
people used to do it all the time. That actually was common practice when from a market. So like when they put the comics on the spinner racks in '70s and '80s, they would actually when they got done, like if it didn't sell after a week or two, they'd mark the date on it, and then they would send it back. And that was pretty commonplace. And Marvel or DC would just get them back, put them in a pile, and then put them in a short box somewhere to get sold for $1. You know, and that's
Yeah,
why a lot of people had so many of those Hulk 181s because they actually went to the racks in the 70s, and nobody, I mean, we're talking the 70s, so nobody really knew who Wolverine was. So whatever. So they sent them all back. And just how it goes. Um, and then let's see here. Oh, let's go to the comments, see what they say. Sid says, yeah, we have to remember the Venom movement plummets. Values probably will follow since movies drive values nowadays. Um, yes and no. So those books were already valuable before the movie. So for example, ASM 300 has always been an expensive book, even before Venom was announced. The new movie will probably see it go up in value, but it's going to be like Nyx 3, the first appearance of X-23. They were worth a lot of money already. They skyrocketed when the movie came out. And then give them about 2 years, 3 years, watch them come back down to where they were before. That's when it comes down to looking at Silver and Bronze Age versus Modern Age books. Because Modern Age books will jump and skyrocket based upon hype, and then they'll be worth $2, $3 here in a couple of years. You know, you look at remember when ASM what was it 797 and 798 came out, the first appearances of Red Goblin. You couldn't find those first prints nowhere. They were
right.
super expensive to try to find $10, $20 each. Now you can find them for $3, $4 each now because the hype train went away on those books. That's how it goes in comics. It goes up and goes down based upon what's affecting them out there and what people like. So I can
Yep.
see ASM 300 going up. I can see it coming back down, plateauing, and then just start averaging, going back up like it was doing before. That's why I collect a lot of Silver and Bronze Age because they typically keep their value and they just go up. It might come down a little bit based upon like sales and stuff like that, but that's the big thing.
Yeah. The first appearance of Weapon H, that was going for $60 at one time, but it's what down to at least 20, $30, which is it's fine. It's a really good character. They're doing a good ongoing series about it. Who knows? Maybe they'll bring a cartoon about it. That'd be great to see.
Yeah, I mean, Hulk Marine, man, you can't get no better than that. Hulk freaking combined with Wolverine. That was like,
Yeah,
it's like we've all thought could happen, like an amalgam kind of thing. Like, hey, somebody put the Hulk and Wolverine together, see what it does. And it's funny, it's like it finally happened last year. It's like somebody did it, and we're like, and this is cool because the guy who's actually the Hulk Marine was a military guy who says, I just want to do the right thing. I want to protect my family. And he's trying to hide out and everything. So he couldn't, he's trying to protect him, but he doesn't realize he's actually putting his family in more danger by hiding out from his family. Um,
yeah.
so the cool part is now is, hey, he just goes out and kills people now, and to protect everybody he loves. I'm like, dude, I'm all for that, man. Do it. Um, and while we're on the topic of Wolverine, let's talk about Return of Wolverine. So we've got a huge series about to come out for Return of Wolverine. So if you guys have been reading the Hunt for Wolverine miniseries, most of them ended as of this week because we're going to have Wolverine Dead Ends come out. I think it's next week or the first week of September, which is going to be kind of the conclusion for all four miniseries before, and it's also going to be the kickoff before Return of Wolverine Volume One comes out. So we're going to see him come back, and it's going to be this huge ass miniseries like they've been doing for every damn character in the world lately, which is driving me freaking bonkers. Um, but it's like, okay, we're flying at Wolverine back, but the catch 22 is that he's not the same Wolverine. If you guys have been reading any of the miniseries, Wolverine doesn't know who he is right now in some of these miniseries. Like in the, I think it was the Weapon Lost. He's a hired killer in the book.
Mhm.
Literally, he shows up and they show him being interrogated by somebody, and they're like, "What do you? What is your name?" He says, "I don't know my name. What do I do? I kill people." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Of course, that's Wolverine. You kill people." But it seems like him coming back from the dead, from from being killed and put in an adamantium casing, did something to his noggin. Um, so that's the catch 22. Is that we also saw too where we had that little teasers in the like Hulk and all of that. Where is Wolverine? And then Wolverine shows up with an Infinity Stone, and magically he gives the stone to Black Widow.
Mhm.
And it's funny because he throws it in a toilet, you know, and that was funny as hell. He puts it in the top of the commode and says, "Hey, take care of this."
Oh yeah, I've read Mystery to Madripoor so far, Claws of Killer, and I can't remember what issue I'm on with Weapon Lost, but I need to go back and find those. They're still hanging on the racks at the store. The Claws of Killer, I enjoyed that one, and I haven't read the last issue of Mystery Madripoor, but it's really good to go back to. Um, I can't remember the place where Wolverine usually is that where they were at in that one.
You talking about adamantium agenda, or you're talking about um,
Oh, Madripoor. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Magical? Yeah,
yeah. Just
yeah,
going back and looking at old school Patch. Is that his name?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was cool how they did that too, like Kitty Pryde, and then they're like she was wearing a patch, and I'm like, this is
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that reminds me, I got to show this. That's why I did this.
Oh, where did he go?
Oh, that's why I did this setup.
Ha.
Wolverine patch with Venom. Just built a figure. But I was like, that's the only reason I wanted that whole figure, for that bike thing was to get a patch figure. Uh, now I just need to get like a coat or something like that. Because you remember when he had the issue with him and Hulk on the cover? I think it was like issue
Yep.
5 or 6. Definitely. I was like, I got to do it. I got to get me a gray Hulk now and do it.
Yeah. Good classic covers. Ah, I love that thing.
I mean, that's the catch 22. I mean, it's like they don't make characters like that, and Madripoor kind of brought that back. It's like that. I mean, and it's funny because like they didn't even talk about really the whole marriage that Hydra or that what's her name Viper has to
Yep.
Wolverine. They didn't even
Hmm.
bring that up. That hey, they're still married technically. They never got divorced, and she's going after him again for the thousandth time. And it's like okay, but yeah, it's been a really good series. I want to see what Sewell does with Return of Wolverine. I hope it's
Hmm.
the only thing that's irritating. I mean, and I understand too. He came back from the dead. So he comes back with these flaming hot claws. He's got these new powers, his new mutant powers, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, what's he gonna do? Cook me a steak on his claws now, or what? Like, what can he do with that? But it was kind of hinted at it though. It was like, um, he he's been touched by the Phoenix Force, is what I saw, You know, is like he has some of that power within him now. Because uh, there was a issue. I'm trying to remember. Was it Legacy or Avengers or something like that? Where Old Man Logan or Wolverine shows up in the end, and he's the Phoenix, and I'm like, no, that might tie in somewhere, you know. And I
Like
think that's
Thor.
what's tying in. Yeah, it was Thor. Yeah, it was in Thor. It was in. Yeah, because he
Yeah,
shows up like that. I'm like, I'm wondering if that's kind of that loose end that's kind of tying back together with what's going to happen with Return of Wolverine.
that would make sense. Now let's talk about Extinction.
Oh yes, thank God the X Men Blue Team are going freaking home.
Man,
It's a cool issue, except for killing Bloodstorm off in the first freaking 5 seconds. And
yeah,
I was like, damn it, we finally get a good, you know, Monroe other than the Stormbreaker and to kill her off. Um,
yeah.
and
And
then
they brought, yeah,
it was weird too because it's like it's it's Nate Gray, Cable, young Cable, you know, and he comes takes out everybody, including
yeah,
himself, you know, the older version
yeah,
of himself. I'm just like,
yeah.
what the hell is going on here?
And I don't know a lot about the hounds too, so I'm really interested in learning a little bit more about these hounds too.
Well, and did you ever read Excalibur? You know, with Rachel.
No, I do have number one. I've read a trade that they had like straight to graphic novel type deal, but it was with the this big purple lady. I can't remember who that
Oh
was.
yeah. Damn it, I know you're talking about.
Yeah,
You gotta get Days of Future Present then. That's what you need to
Dave.
read because
Okay.
that it was like it's sort of like remember when we had Shattershot, you know, the annuals that were put together, you know, made
Yeah,
like it's the same thing they did with X Men. I think it was like X Men New Mutants and X Factor. All those go together, which of course ironically includes the first cameo of Gambit. But it's really Rachel, Excalibur, and it's all of them in the future fighting Ahab. So, and I haven't seen Ahab since an Excalibur comic in in the '90s.
yeah,
So because he's supposed to be dead, Rachel killed Ahab in the future. So it's like, how is he back? Well, let's talk about that. Let's see what the X Men Blue Team has done to screw up the continuum with all the shit they've been doing.
yeah,
Out from the '60s, being in today's day. Oh, and let's just go time travel through all of time and go to all these places and screw it up. There's a ripple effect. It's called the butterfly effect. If you're not where you're supposed to be and you're in a different place and time, it causes an effect. Well, we saw that in X Men Blue. Remember when they had to go fight these other X Men that was back in their own house? And it was like it was weird because it's like, who the hell are you guys? And it was like
yeah,
Xavier 2, or something like that. And I'm like, good grief, but that's an effect from that. It's like, hey, you weren't here, so somebody had to be here to take care of your role. And then the cool thing, though, is that they're making Magneto a bad guy. X Men Blue kind of turned Magneto back into the bad guy again, which I'm kind of happy because he's a bad guy. He should be out there trying to destroy stuff. He's been a good guy for like 10 years, I mean, between Genosha and everything else, it's like, all right, just make him a bad guy. And they're doing that with the X Men Black series coming out.
yeah. I can't. I want to say the last time he was a good guy was in the early '80s, mid '80s when he took over the New Mutants.
Yeah. Yeah, because remember he took over the New Mutants, and he was actually the X Men leader of the X Men for like issues 190 through like 200 and something. When Xavier went away, and he's like, "Okay, I want to change. I want to do something different. Be a good guy." Then of course, magically it all goes into he takes care of the New Mutants, and then X Men 1 comes out, and he says, "Screw it, I'm gonna kill you all. Let me just try to take over the Earth." And then gets his mind wiped, and he turns into Onslaught, with Xavier. But the cool part is like, ever since they had that, what was it, Utopia scenario, where they had the whole damn thing where Magneto takes over Genosha as their leader, and he does everything, and he's the controller, but he's trying to look out for everybody in the mutant. So I can't. And that actually reminds me that the real consensus though is Magneto a good guy or a bad guy? in his mind, he's a good guy. He's just trying to take care of mutants in his own way. He doesn't care how he does it, you know. So it goes to that whole anti-hero kind of thing, like Venom and Deadpool and stuff like that. Like they're doing what they think is right, just in their own way, which is not what
Hmm.
morally is accepted. I'm sorry, you go kill 1,000 people just to make sure another 100 people are alive. That's not morally correct. So that's kind of the catch-22 is that he's always been on that verge of that, and even the movies showed that. With Magneto and X-Men First Class and Days of Future Past and Apocalypse, they showed that he had a tragic thing happen to him, not just as a kid, but as an adult as well, which of course
Hmm.
twisted his mind up, into thinking what is right. So he just
Right.
retaliates. So yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this black issue turns out.
I'm excited too. I follow this one guy. I can't remember his name. I met him at uh, the Heroes Con. He did the Guardians of the Galaxy hip hop variant cover. He's part of a group called Ink Pulp. So if you follow them on Instagram, he's been showing off his sketches for Juggernaut, and it looks really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Well, and I like how they're doing like all these X-Men Black are all villains. You've got Juggernaut, you got Mystique, you got Mojo, you got Magneto. It reminds me of like hey the '90s all over again, like where the X-Men were fighting against all these villains, and it was happening for like a couple of issues. Like every issue, every other 2 issues, you had a new villains you were fighting. That's why when they did the whole Mojo Worldwide between X-Men Blue and X-Men Gold, I'm like, dude, it's like I'm reading X-Men 8, 9, 10, and 11 again. When
Yeah.
Longshot shows up, I'm like, this is awesome. Let's just keep these stories going. It's like, hell, before we know, the X babies are going to show up.
New X Men Academy.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's like they kind of, it was funny 'cause, like now Dazzler's back, and Dazzler's an astonishing X-Men. And it's like, holy crap, we brought pretty much the whole crew from the '80s back. If you look at it, we
Yes.
brought Dazzler back, we brought the New Mutants back. They've had their own series with the Dead Souls. So Magic's been back by herself too. Um, it's cool to see all these old characters being brought back. Multiple Man. Who thought Multiple Man would get his own miniseries? Come on here.
Yeah. It's been a minute there, and then Warpath is back, and Banshee is
Yep.
back. We got a drunk Colossus, which is amazing.
It's weird though, because like Banshee looks like a damn zombie. He's like, I don't think he's alive though. I think he's like half dead still, because I think
Yeah.
like Beast reanimated him or something, because he's not even talking. He's like just go
It's
fight
a
him.
Marvel zombie.
Okay. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
we do have a question though. Sith asks, why haven't they officially deemed Phoenix as a mega level? Depends on which Phoenix you're talking about. If you're talking about the entity Phoenix is way above an Omega level as far as a mutant goes. If you're talking about Jean Grey, she's already an Omega level. If you're talking Quentin Quire, he's an Omega level mutant. You're talking Emma Frost. She is not an Omega level, actually. She is like I think a Alpha or a Beta, whatever the one in between normal in them is. And then ironically, Cyclops. Cyclops was a Beta level mutant because once he had the Phoenix powers, it enhanced his whole body and his ability to do
Yep.
everything. And even when he lost it, he still had remnants of it. I mean, that was the cool thing about Jean Grey, and when they did the resurrection of Phoenix last year, was is that Quentin Quires had a piece of the Phoenix in him, and that's what he used to help reconstitute Jean Grey back to life. So it was kind of a cool little scenario. Do I see the Phoenix Force coming back? Yes, it's already been shown. Wolverine's going to have it, in the Thor issue. So do I think it's going to come back full force like it did before? No. I don't see it being a huge climatic event, um, unless Rachel gets taken over again. It seems like they've been kind of hinting at that with Rachel because she already had her mind messed up with Ms.
Yeah.
Marrow. Um, so she had the Ahab's, facial markings already. So that was a kind of a trend that I've kind of noticed. And they've done this with Rachel how many times where they made her a freaking thing and then they made her into a phoenix and then they turned her into a hound. And so it's about time that either A, she gets turned back into a hound fully, or she gets turned back into Phoenix again. Because was it Prestige? I think that's her name now. Is she's still the same level as Jean Grey, but she doesn't have the Phoenix level force that she used to have. So we'll have to see.
Are the Cuckoo's sisters still around? I wouldn't mind seeing them as like the twins, I guess, because there's one of them's dead. I wouldn't mind seeing them grab the Phoenix Force. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, they are back actually. In X-23.
Oh,
And they actually brought the other sisters back to life.
oh, go figure.
Uh, it didn't work out so well though. So I won't spoil it for you. I just say go read X-23. Um,
All right.
but yeah, it's kind of interesting how they're doing their take on the Cuckoos after. Because remember they lost the two sisters, during the war. So
Mm-hmm.
lost those.
Deadly Genesis.
So we'll have to see how this turns out. But at least to say, um, you know how they had the mind thing, like they were all the same, all one kind of thing. You can see where one's trying to take over now.
Oh
So
yeah.
so it's interesting now to see how it's going. Um, we've talked Marvel for a bit. Let's talk DC now. Um,
That's all you.
yeah, well, and it's because there's been so many damn new books with DC. It's been crazy. On that between like new challengers, terrifics, you name it, damage, silencer, blah blah blah. Silencer sucks. So does damage. Don't read those. But that's my opinion. Uh, there's been a lot of changes, of course, with the Brian Michael Bendis Superman. So there, I've been reading the Action Comics and of course, the regular Superman issues. Really good stories. They're starting to go. They're starting to go way down. And I'm only two issues in, and I'm
Yeah.
already starting to lose kind of like, all right, do I really want to read this continuously? So it's one of those things. Is like he had a great storyline in Man of Steel. I loved how the story writing went. Um, so we'll have to see. I'm gonna stay with it. To I usually have a rule. I say to issue 5 because development takes at least 5 issues for a character. Um, so I'll say with at least till issue 5 of Superman and whatever of Action Comics. But it seemed like it was a cool concept. Like when they brought the dude Omar Toll or whatever his name is
Uh,
that actually destroyed Krypton. The dude who actually destroyed Krypton. It wasn't a damn meteor. It was a guy who killed Krypton. Cool concept. Retcon 70 years worth of stuff in about 2 issues. But what's cool is that they were developing that character. It's like, okay, I want to see why he's the way he is. Oh, and by the way, the Earth is in the Phantom Zone now in Superman. The whole Earth and all the universe got put into the Phantom Zone,
no.
and I was trying to feel like when did that happen? And I'm like, because in Action or in Man of Steel, Supergirl threw that guy into the Phantom Zone. But it's like, and then all you see is like at the end of like Superman issue 1 was the Earth and all the universe in the Phantom Zones. I'm like, I haven't read Superman 2 yet, just got it yesterday. I'm gonna read it, see how it goes. But it's not looking good for Bendis. That's all I gotta say.
Oh
Um,
man.
but there is one series I highly recommend from DC, or actually two. Justice League Dark. Go read Justice League Dark. It's freaking nuts. That book. And then go read Hawkman. If you guys loved Metals, if you loved how that storyline went, Hawkman goes right hand in hand with Metals. It is an actual byproduct of Metals. And it's a really cool story. I like to do. And and they haven't said yet if it's a mini series or if it's going to be a full issue series or not. It has a mini series feeling though. It has that, like, hey, they're trying to get a story done in an X amount of time. So it makes me think it's probably gonna be like a 6 or 8 issue miniseries.
Yeah, Josh has been telling me about uh, Actions Comics, and then they were discussing Justice League Dark on the group today. So we're gonna have to get Josh on here so we can talk DC with you.
Definitely. Uh, and Sith asks, Phoenix JG versus Doctor Manhattan, who wins? Um, I'm gonna give that to Doctor Manhattan
Yeah,
because Doctor Manhattan can build universes. Um,
naked.
Phoenix Phoenix can destroy things and she can create things, but she can't create universes and multiverses like Doctor Manhattan did with the New 52, and then he did
Yeah.
with the Rebirth. So I'm thinking Doctor Manhattan on that one.
hmm Yeah, definitely. Just because he can just think of something, then he just explode.
Yeah, well, and the best part is like he just thinks of something and it's there. You
hmm
know, Phoenix needs an actual like objective, like it's a force of nature. So it needs something to do. Um, it's like it's got a good nature and it's got a bad nature. Dark Phoenix, who destroyed how many worlds? Um, but Doctor Manhattan will do it just because he thinks it's the right thing to do. This is
Yeah,
stupid. Let me just recreate it. Oh no, let's do it again. No, reset button. Hit it again. You know, it's interesting
third
to see
time's a
it.
charm.
Which brings me to that's actually a good segue. Is Doomsday Clock? A lot of people are pissed off about Doomsday Clock, and because of the release schedule on it, once every month, once every other month, it's kind of dropped a lot of fan base. A lot of people have dropped their actual pull list of Doomsday Clock because of that. I mean, it's one of those stories. It's just like it needs to be told, but a lot faster. A lot of us are like, okay, we went through all of metals within like 6, 7 months. We got all of metals done. And that was
Yeah.
with all the stories, all the tie-ins, and everything. We're talking about a one maxi issue series, 112 issue series that, okay, we should have been done already. And they're dragging their feet, which tells me something though. There's a reason for them dragging their feet in DC. DC is better than Marvel at this. Is that when they drag their feet on something, there is a specific reason they're going to do it. They're going to let something happen after the fact because we haven't even got to the part where Superman's even talking to Dr. Manhattan. For the love of God, Dr. Manhattan's not even showed up in the book yet.
Nope.
They've talked about it. We've had Rorschach. We've had freaking Ozymandias. We've had Batman. I mean, freaking Batman got abducted by the Joker. I mean, that was freaking awesome. It was a cool
Yep.
story that they were doing with it. And it's like, all right, I want to read the next issue. Well, okay, that'll be 2 months from now.
Yeah.
Um, they need to hurry that crap up. But like I said, I think there's a reason they're doing it though. They're gonna have some kind of big spoiler at the end, and Jeff Johns is in charge of this, so you know that there's a reason for him doing it the way he's doing it.
There's got to be. I wouldn't be surprised if they restarted the whole universe again and rebirth the rebirth or something. Maybe throw the Watchmen characters into the DC universe, something like that.
Well, and that's technically what they did with Doomsday Clock. They brought the Watchmen pretty much
Mm-hmm.
over. The only person I mean, the comedian was already in there, and he just got his ass whooped at the end of that last issue.
Yeah, he
That
did.
was that fun. It was funny though. He's like, "I got you," and they're like, "No, we got you," and they just pull it into him. Like, this is awesome. Uh,
Yeah.
but it was cool because like the Joker was actually a funny character again. It's like we've had a lot of these Batman books and stuff like that where the Joker's been like, "All right, this serious dude." And it's like, dude, give me my happy jovial Joker that's crazy. Give me some like punchlines and stuff like that. And we were getting that with the Jokers. I'm like, all right, they keep this up. This is gonna be a good one. But it's like, yeah, I think they're gonna be hitting that reset button again after Doomsday Clock's all done. I think it's gonna be called just DC Universe. It ain't gonna be the Rebirth Universe. It ain't gonna be nothing. It's just gonna be called DC. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
We're done. Um, but I tell you what they're going to do though, they're going to alienate a lot of people again if they do it again because a lot of people are getting so fed up with the reset button. I mean, they've seen it in Marvel, they've seen it in DC. The only people that don't do that is Image. Image doesn't hit a reset button. It's just the same universe it's been since it was created in the 90s, you know?
Hmm.
And that's why they've been doing amazing runs and stuff. I mean, that's why I love reading Lee Meyer and Rick Remender and those guys. It's just like in Kirkman, I love reading their stories because you don't have to worry about this kind of stuff and the Image universe. If it happens, it happens. Whatever.
Even with the original Image comic books that are coming back, they are still sticking to storylines. You're like, okay, the Cyberforce may be a remake, but with Youngblood, he Chad wanted to do that. He wanted to keep the storyline going into another generation with the same characters back then. Spawn has been Spawn for 200 some odd, 50 some odd issues now, which is great. If anything else that DC would do is not reset it, but expand it, possibly, which would be great. I mean, try something different.
Well, I think if they would have went with like how Marvel did, how Marvel had all these multiverses and then combined it into one. That was kind of the
Mhm.
idea DC was supposed to do. After Final Crisis, like all the multiverses combined into one. They were all in one Earth. Everything happened in one Earth now. But then New 52 happened and that broke that all apart. And then Flashpoint happened, which really screwed it all up. And then Rebirth happened, and Rebirth was supposed to be the same thing. It was supposed to be, hey, all the universes got smushed together into one. If Doomsday Clock is supposed to be the literal fallout of Rebirth, then why are they still transversing across other multiverses? It doesn't make sense. It's like Rebirth really never happened. It's like the only thing they did was combine some characters together, like Superman and stuff like that. But it's like, come on, people.
Agreed.
And Sith says they have us waiting. What happens if they ruin the ending? It will leave such a bad. I'm hope racer. I think he meant to say taste in his mouth. But
I think so too.
um, yeah, they're not going to ruin the ending. DC's really good about that. Marvel sucks at it. Marvel usually ruins an ending real fast because they'll put a solicitation out there for like 3 months, 4 months in advance. So by the time they put it out there, you already know what's going to happen. You can already see the cover of the book. DC is pretty close hold. So is Image on what they do. Um, yeah, we'll have to see.
I do like what they're doing with the characters of Watchmen into the DC universe, how they're adapting. It still feels like the characters from the storyline, and I know Alan Moore was not a big fan of doing this, but I believe that they didn't want to fuck this up. Excuse my language, but you know, I wouldn't want to.
No, and that's the thing is like I love Watchmen. You guys know that. It's like anything Watchmen, I usually pick it up. I mean, that's why I have 4 versions of the original series. That came out. And then when that
Yeah,
omnibus comes out in December, before Watchmen, I'm buying that book for that reason because it's going to have everything in it. Um, I know Alan Moore's not happy with what DC's doing, but DC is trying to respect the feeling
yeah.
and the essence, of that same thing. Um, they really screwed up the Swamp Thing, though. That's for damn sure.
Did they?
Swamp Thing has sucked lately, um, but at least in Justice League Dark, they're trying to get him back to that Alan Moore kind of feel of Swamp Thing. So I'm like, okay, because he's an extension of the Earth. If he's not alive, the Earth doesn't live. And it's like okay, let's see how it's going to do. Because people have to remember, there's a Swamp Thing and then there's a Man Thing. In
Oh
Marvel,
yeah.
two separate things. Man Thing was an accident that happened.
How is Sandman so far?
It was freaking awesome.
Okay.
That first issue, it was just like in it. It's like I just got done reading the last issue of Sandman, from Neil Gaiman. It was just like rotates right into it, and you can tell the people that's in there writing it. The story's by Neil Gaiman, but the writers are a little different. The writing is a little different, but it still has that jumbled feel. Like you remember how you'd read Sandman or Starman, or even what's that other one? Crap, Preacher. They all have that
Hmm.
like reading style. Like you read this, and then just going back and forth. Same thing. Sandman's got the
Okay.
same thing in the new issue. Um, but it is a cool storyline, and it literally goes the thing about the book is awesome is that the original Morpheus died. He had died, got replaced by a new guy. Um, the new guy said, "Fuck it, I don't want to be there anymore." This Now we have to see what effects to the dreaming that has on it. So this is a cool storyline. I think they're going to do real good with this one. The first issue, of course, is setting up the whole Sandman universe, and then they're going to have individual miniseries, like 3 or 4 issue miniseries out of it. So there'll be definitely a lot more of those coming out. It's a cool story. If anybody loves Neil Gaiman, loves reading Sandman, I highly advise picking up. I mean, that was my favorite book, and it's probably still one of my favorite books of the month. So.
Cool.
All right. And let's see. And so Sif asked us any suggestion ideas on shelving for graded comic books. Um, there's a couple things I've seen. There is an actual no crap um, frame for CGC comics. I've seen those at Michael's before. Like
Hmm.
Michael's has them and stuff like that. And it's a frame you can put them in, and you can just, of course, display it on your walls. Um, And then the cool thing is, if you ever go find it, find these old stores that are going out of business. They have all those what was it, Blockbuster, where they used to have the actual tapes. Those are perfect for slab books or comic books, because you can just put those right across there and hold them up. Mine are all in a long box or a short box. And I got to actually buy a CGC box now so I can start filling it up with slabs. Um, which you actually have to order those specifically just for slabs because it's a bigger box, of course. Um, but yeah, that's what I would do.
I've got one I saw. I believe it was Yo-Yo or Jojo Dang in the group. He recommended these ones right here called collector mount. You can see the plastic right there. You can have them on stands or you can have them hanging on the wall. I bought three of them just to try them out, but it's $5-6. You get it on Amazon, so then you just flip it up. Well, you're gonna screw it, flip it up, and it'll be kind of on there. Sold tight, but you know what I'm trying to do.
Yep.
And you got hooks on both sides, so either side. And I use those. They give you a little piece of just cardboard that comes with, and you slide them in between, and it'll make a stand like that. And you can put like that. You can put the pouch on there and hang them out just like that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people use those on comic auctions. Just when
Yeah.
they're doing book sales and stuff. So I bought 3 or 4 of those out and doing it. So, and where'd you get that at again, BJ?
Amazon.
Amazon. Okay,
They were $5 or $6 each.
that's not bad. Not in the grand scheme of
Yeah,
things.
I'm pretty sure you can find something cheaper, but it's I mean, it's pretty good.
Well, and the hard part too, though, is depending on where, if you have them in a frame, if that frame is any sunlight, guess what happens with glass in front of the slab? It's going to sun fade. Doesn't matter
Uh,
how good the slab is. You start putting direct sunlight on a comic book. Remember, slabbing doesn't keep the book perfect forever. It's just a level of protection for your book. That's all it is. I've seen books get cooked, like that, because they're in direct sunlight. Keep them out of the sun, people.
if you don't even have to buy as many as you want, you can like you put yours in a box. You can rotate them because you just slide them out, slide them back in whenever you feel like you've got something different to put up.
Yep. Yeah, like for mine, like I keep like literally, I have a little stand I use over here, and it's just to keep mine like. And I highly recommend if you have books like slabs, get the plastic holders for it too, just to give it another level of protection if you're not going to put them in like a binder or something like that. Um,
Yeah.
because I'm about to go take these ones out of their slabs and get them regraded. So, all right. So, what'd you get this week, BJ?
Okay. Yeah, I got my 64 gig hard drive. I've been talking to T Man via messaging, doing some live stuff, and I downloaded something on my an app on my phone to start doing some things. So you're gonna see something coming up.
Okay.
Uh, Found the cable. Yay! Finally, the bad
Yeah.
boy's hard to find. And then I've been talking to Brock as well. I watched his Silver Surfer video, so
Mhm.
I'm going to do some chroming on some of him and a couple other characters I've got. Comic book wise, I'm gonna give a shout out to my boy Kyle Phillips. Miss you, boy.
What
That's
about
Kill Be Killed, Volume 4, trade paperback. Please come back soon. We miss
ball?
you.
Miss you, brother.
Miss you, bro. Regular pickups. Mystery Magic for number 4. Finally, I'm enjoying these. X-Men Gold 34. Interesting storyline. Labyrinth Coronation number 6. X-Men Red number 7, which I really liked. The story it was really good. It's kind of like an ending to it, but a beginning as well. And I went and I picked. I ordered off of Unknown Comic Books with the. Hold on a sec. They had a buy two get one for Boston Comic Con.
Hmm.
So I bought. I took a couple of them out of the board bag so you can see it better. Variant edition of X-Men Gold number 30.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yep, the
that's
Santa
pretty
Cat
cool.
one.
Loki, and then the back is pretty cool too. Unknown Comics. I'm not sure who did the variant cover here.
It's like Hughes or Brooks.
This is Phil Nota. Well, maybe Yasmin Putri. Nope, this one doesn't say. It's Abacleto. I'm not too sure who that is. And the Astonishing X-Men number 1 exclusive. Looks like from the X-Men trading cards. Jim Lee.
Yep, the Jim Lee Magic
Um,
cover.
yeah, and I got another one of those for one of my friends. So I just got because these were $3. These two X-Men on astonishing ones. Um, but the X-Men Gold was like $14. So I basically got one of the astonishing number ones for free.
Nice.
And that's it. That's all I got.
All right. So let's see. I got Carnage.
All
Um,
right.
I I got this before at my LCS, but what I didn't realize like the back tendrils was missing in the box I'd got before.
Oh,
So I told them about it, and they're like, "Hey, when we get another one in, just bring in your old one. We'll swap it out." So they hooked it up, got my swap out for Carnage. So I'm good to go with that one. And then I wanted to show this off because this is my favorite thing so far.
yeah.
This is the reissue from Walmart that just came out. This is a pain in the ass to get. Like literally, you
Yeah.
got to go on their damn site and like looking every day, and then like refresh and trying to see. All right, is it up? Is it up? Is it up? I still already have I still have my pre-orders in for Starscream and Devastator already, and they're still in pre-processing. And I ordered this on the 17th of August, and it already showed up. So they're doing some weird shit at Walmart right now.
How
uh,
much was that?
that one was 29, I think, plus shipping for that one. Um, Debbie was 70, and then um, Starscream was 34, I think. Um,
That's
and then they've got the mini bots, but you can't order them at all in the U.S. The only people that's really getting these in stores right now is Canada. They're getting them everywhere in Canada right now. So hopefully in a month or two, we'll start seeing them here.
yeah, that'd be neat.
You just got to be patient. People jump on the board. I mean, they'll be paying twice as much how much it's worth. I'm like, just wait. It'll be here. Don't worry.
Yeah.
All right, books for the week. All right, X-Men 34,
Hmm.
or X-Men Gold 34. Uh, X-Men Red number 7. I got to read this. I've heard nothing but good about it too.
Yeah, really good.
Uh,
Exciting.
Mystery and Madripoor number 4. Um, the variant Wolverine cover with Storm.
Okay.
Mystery and Madripoor. It ate it. So this is a 1 in 25. Hard to get this one, but look who's back.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to be interesting because the last time we saw her was in the 90s and she was dead. Remember? Revanche?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's who it was. Damn. I guess
Yeah.
they had the variant of that. I should have got that one instead.
Yep. So I'm interested to see, like, I haven't read it yet. I'm going to read it tonight to see if it's actually Revenge Bag or is it just a screw with Nate on the variant cover day. You know, I've had that before. Mr. and Mrs. X number 2. Um, cool thing. So remember, I was looking for that variant for Adamantium Agenda that came out a couple weeks ago. Um, they found it. They actually had it in a box in
Oh,
another area, so they gave it to me for free. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll take it.
cool.
Venom number 5. The This is a cool cover, just something different. This is Venom number 5, but this is a Fantastic Four variant. Kind of cool. It's
Huh.
like Captain Marvel, Thing, Flat, or a Torch, and then Crystal.
Yeah.
This will probably be my book of the week, probably. Punisher number
Yeah.
1. Um, and then they only got one of these in, and I got it. The Clayton Crane cover for Punisher number 1. Let's see. ASM number 4.
What was is that a Sentinel?
The Tri Sentinel.
Yeah, from Eric Larson. No, Bagley's day from the
Yep.
early '90s. Yeah.
Yep. They brought it back. That's why I've been liking ASM. It reminds me of the Bagley McFarlane era. Like, he's just a down to earth dude. He's just a kid, kind of thing. He's not the I'm a millionaire, billionaire dude like he was with Slot. He's like, no crap, I'm back to just your friendly neighborhood Spider Man.
Cool.
And this is just a cool ass cover too. Let's see, this is Avengers number 6. I mean, Captain America and Ghost Rider riding in this car together with the Hulk and Black Panther. I mean, it's just cool how they do that. Let's see. Life of Captain Marvel, number 2. This has been a cool little series. If I'm not a huge Captain Marvel fan, like I like the original Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
The Kree one from the 70s and 80s. I mean, it's kind of cool. This is like a backstory. Like, hey, you kind of get the backstory of Carol Danvers, like what she came up with and what she had to deal with.
Yeah.
Let's see, we got Old Man Hawkeye, number 8. I'm going to be sad when this ends. This is such a great story.
I can't.
My favorite crazy dude, the Sentry, doesn't know if he's going or coming. We're talking about Adam Hughes. Picked up the Fantastic Four, number 1, Tony Stark, Fantastic Four, Adam Hughes cover. And let's see, we got, all right, on to DC. So we got Action Comics 1002. Justice League Dark, number 2. And let's see, the minimal variants, or minimal version variant of Justice League Dark 2. Let's see, Superman 2.
Dude, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what the hell's going on with that one. It just don't make a lot of sense. Um, the Mac variant of Superman 2, and see the Hughes variant. And I never thought I would see this guy back in comics. I really didn't, the way they got rid of him. The Terrifics 7. They brought Tom Strong back. I never thought Tom Strong would ever be back in comics again. So I am so happy to see him come back. Um, let's see. And so we got, ooh, yeah. I already had to read this one. Aphrodite V, number 2.
There we go.
You all right? Yours is bugging out, man.
Yeah, I finally figured it out. It wouldn't let me go in, but I got it fixed.
Okay. And then I
Stupid
got
thing.
Bloodstrike Brutalist 24, the Pouchman variant.
Hey, here it is.
Got this one. I just need 23, and it's on its way. So, um, and last but not least, Redneck number 14.
Yes.
I don't know how long they're gonna keep going with Redneck. I really don't. It's just like it's starting to get monotonous. But it's like as Donnie keeps writing it, I'm gonna keep reading it. You know.
Yeah.
All right. So we had some questions out there. What's a proper way to package and send up comics for grading? I have an actual cheat sheet. Seth, PM me, and I'll send it right to you on how to do
Nice.
it. You can ask BJ how I package comics. Uh, it takes you an industrial forklift to get it out, and freaking an industrial knife to open it.
All right.
Um, and Ryan asks, "What's the last issue of Old Man Hawkeye number 12?" We will have that'll be the last one for that one for that run.
Dude, come on here.
So, with that being said, BJ, do you have anything else tonight?
Yeah, hang on a second here.
See, your video is doing like what mine did. That remember mine was doing that.
Yeah, I put my charger on and it started doing that. So I don't know what's going on. It's
See, that's what
weird.
mine does. Like literally, if I have the charger connected, it'll do that to it. Like it'll just start hanging up and freezing.
Yeah, it's weird. Kind of like, nope, can't charge it. Can't do it. All right.
No, it's a Hangouts thing because Facebook doesn't have that issue when you do live.
No. Oh well. Um, for those who are in the South Carolina or in the Southeast, Soda City Comic Con is this weekend. We have Sergeant Slaughter, we've got Kane, we've got Larry Hama, Chad Bowers, we've got a couple other people. Check it out. Come on down, hang out. We're gonna have a good time. A lot of the Columbia groups are gonna be hanging out with each other. Gonna have you know, and then I got to go to work Saturday afternoon, but I'll go back Sunday morning.
Now, are you going to go get something signed by Larry Hama while you're there?
I don't know yet. Not too sure. I'll probably ask a question or two in that interview that Chad's got to do. I might pull a Chris Harvey, Paul McCartney, Saturday Night Live kind of interview thing. If you guys remember that skit.
You should so do it, man. You got to do it now. Now, as you said it,
Hilarious.
you got to do it.
God dang
Uh,
it.
yeah, because I will say, too, I have talked to Larry Hama. He's a really good dude. I sat with him for about a good 35 minutes. We talked about Transformers, G.I. Joe, and you name it. He's he's a cut up too, though. Like he'll sit there and joke with you as well. So if you get a chance, definitely go out and check him out.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, this is the biggest event they've had for this convention. It's been about 3, 4 years now, and I hope it's in a bigger convention room because the last ones were with all these celebrities here. It's going to be pretty packed for the room that they've had the past few years. So hopefully it'll be in a bigger one.
That's awesome. I know we're gonna have a small comic convention here in September in Ventura. So they haven't announced any people that's going to be here, which I don't think there will be anybody other than local, local people here. Um, but they're trying to get. They used to have a, con called the Central Coast Convention, Comic Convention, once a year, and literally it was like Santa Barbara, Ventura, part of LA. They would all come up here, and we had like, I mean, we had some people like we had like Kevin Smith. We had some other people, up here too. But they're trying to rebuild it. So if they can rebuild, it'd be kind of cool to see them show back up here. But we'll have to see how they do it, because you know how it is at a convention. They're always hit and miss.
Yeah.
But that's all I got for tonight. BJ, thanks for being here, brother. I appreciate it. Stop trying to charge your phone. Uh,
No shit.
uh, but yeah, it's been a fun week. We'll see you guys again next week. Yeah, we'll see since he shows up. It's like when somebody just shows up randomly at your house. That's how it is when Cincy shows up on our streams. He just randomly shows up when he's here. Um,
Yeah.
we'll have to see. Hopefully next time he'll be here. But if not, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for everyone that supports our page, helps out, so does everything on our page. One thing I did want to say, announcement for a Syndi-Comics page. Don't be a douche. This last couple of weeks, BJ, myself, Kyle, and some other people have had to get involved a lot more than we usually are with a lot of these posts. And I want to say two things. A, it's okay to have an opinion. I'm all about having opinions. B, but you still need to respect everybody else's opinions. So just because they has a book that they like and you don't like it or you have your own feelings against it, it is not right to go after these other people just because of that. So let everybody enjoy what they like. It's the same way in the toy world. We say the same thing. Collect what you like, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Same way in the comic world. You do what you think is right, and you like what you like, and if you don't like it, then you don't have to comment. You don't have to post on it. And if you have issues with something, you bring it up to the admins, us. Don't bring it up on a post and get it out of hand. If not, you will get banned. And I have no problem with that. Or putting people on timeout, like I had to do it before. We had an issue right up at a guy on timeout for almost 3 days. Um, no issue since then, and I appreciate it. But we're a comic community. It should not be this hard. I mean, it's not like we're fighting over toys or anything like that, or we're all grown adults. So everybody just be a grown adult. Do what you need to do. Like I said, if you got problems, come talk to us. But respect one another. Respect what everybody collects, and then let's just have a good time. All right, I'm off my soapbox, but um, definitely wanted to bring that up because we started seeing issues, and we don't like to have issues. We wanted this to be smooth sailing for everybody. All right, BJ, anything else tonight, brother?
There's a difference between sarcasm and rudeness. Sarcasm's funny, rudeness is douchebag.
Yes, that's why I use that term because when you're being a douche, you're gonna get douched out, and you're gonna get kicked out.
Skadoosh.
All right, everybody, you guys have a good night, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care, everyone.
See you
Thank
guys.
y'all out there.
All right.